Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. Okay, let's do a recap of week 15 of the marathon train so far. Week 15 took place from the 21st of August to the 27th of August, and it's also the final week of the race preparation train block. Monday's just the usual rest and walking. Took it really easy that day. Didn't really do any strength training or like plyometrics for some reason. Yeah, just felt like taking it chill, I guess. Tuesday was a 16k double recovery. I did 10k's in the morning on grass at Bankstown City Sports Complex, and also 6k's in the evening around Roos Park. It's also the last double recovery of this whole marathon training program, so I'm pretty glad it's over. I don't really enjoy doing those evening recovery runs. It always feels so like bloated and sluggish for some reason, and yeah, like it's pretty dark during winter over here, and maybe when daylight saving starts in October it'll be like less dark in the evenings or like late afternoon, and I'll probably enjoy recovery runs a bit more. But yeah, for now I'm pretty glad that I don't have to do like any more evening recovery runs, I guess. Wednesday was some intervals. It's supposed to be like around 18k's in total. It was basically 5 by 1200 meters at 5k race pace with like around 2 minutes of jog recovery in between each interval rep. I did like 6k's warm up and then did the intervals at my usual place, which is the River Walk near Newington, and then like a 4.5k cool down. I felt pretty solid for the most part, but it was rained the night before, so the surfaces were a bit wet, but fortunately it wasn't too slippery. Thursday was a 23k mid long run at St. Lin Park. It feels like I haven't crossed over to Meadowbank in a while, so yeah, I just felt like doing it that morning. Felt pretty steady throughout. Again, it was rained the night before, so the surfaces were a bit wet and there's like a bunch of puddles to dodge as well. Fortunately it wasn't too slippery at all. Friday was a 13k general aerobic run with some speed work at the end. I did the general aerobic run at Saltpan Creek, and then I did some strides at the end. It was like 8 by 100 meters. Yeah, felt pretty solid throughout. Saturday was supposed to be 8k's recovery, but I decided just to do it at Rhodes Park Run. I did like a mile warm up and then did the park run itself for like a total of 6.7 kilometers, and yeah, just called it a day after that, I guess. And finally Sunday was a 32k long run. Did my usual route, which starts at Marrickville, goes all the way to St. Park via the Cooks River Cycleway, and then through Homebush as well, and then all the way to Parramatta via the Parramatta Valley Cycleway. I felt quite tired and weak that morning for some reason, so I just took it easy at the start, and then I got a bit more warmed up throughout the run, so yeah, I gradually picked up the pace as well. By the end of it, the run became quite progressive, but I don't think it was intentional. It just took a really long while to get all loosened up and warm, I guess. So yeah, overall a pretty solid long run, I reckon. That brings the total mileage for the week to 110 kilometers. It's also the final big mileage week before my 3-week taper begins in the following week. I'm really looking forward to the taper. It'll likely be pretty much the same intensity for my runs, but the volume will start reducing quite a fair bit all the way up to the race day, and there'll also be one more tune-up race the following week, which will be exciting, I guess. Anyways, I wanted to quickly talk about flexibility and mobility as well. Keep in mind, I'm not really an expert in these kind of things. I'm just pretty much sharing my thoughts, opinions, and experiences in it, I guess. So what is flexibility anyway? Flexibility is pretty much the ability of your body to like bend and like stretch and being able to like move your muscles and joints without feeling like too tight or stiff. And then mobility is how well you can move your body parts. It's pretty much about being able to move like freely and without any pain, I guess. So flexibility is about the stretchiness of your muscles and joints, whereas mobility is like the overall movement and range of motion in your body. I think mobility definitely involves a fair bit of flexibility, but it's also about like balance, coordination, and strength as well. So to improve flexibility, we basically stretch, and then stretching is like holding parts of your body in like certain positions as a way to like lengthen the muscles so that they're more flexible and elastic. So we teach the body and nervous system that it's okay for the body or like muscle groups to be in certain positions and also to adapt to it over time. There's also various types of stretching, including static stretching, dynamic stretching, ballistic stretching, active stretching, passive stretching, isometric stretching, and PNF stretching. To be honest, I've only been doing like static stretching for the most part. I remember learning and like going through these different types of stretches like when I was in school and stuff, but like I haven't really applied it in recent times, I guess. And then to improve mobility, we do mobility exercises, which helps us with perception and awareness of like our body's positions and movements as well. It includes a range of exercises to increase the range of motion, control muscles surrounding each joint, and basically help you move more freely. In both cases, it's pretty important to stay relaxed the whole time, because I think your body has like a defense mechanism that activates when your body's in like pain or when you overdo like a stretch or something, and then the body will tense up, and then like that makes the stretch or mobility work less effective and also harder to do. Not to mention there's like a high chance of injury when you overdo it. So what are some of the benefits? There's a bunch of them. I think most of it is quality of life. Like it sort of helps your body to relax more and like not be tensed up all the time. I think as you get older, your body tends to get stiffer over time, so stretching is a way to sort of delay that. Stretching and mobility work also helps with like mind muscle connection, relieve the tension from sitting all day, and also from like intense exercise, I guess. It also sort of helps improve posture, maybe improve blood circulation, reduce joint deterioration, and pretty much helps build stronger, more adaptive muscles and joints. And in terms of running, it really helps because having decent flexibility and mobility helps with like having naturally longer strides without having to unnaturally overstride, if that makes sense. And then when you complement that with appropriate strength training, you'll have longer and stronger strides, which helps you go faster without having to rely too much on like faster cadence and turnover, if that makes sense. It's definitely recommended to warm up before doing any type of like stretching or mobility work, because there's a high risk of injury if you just do it while you're cold. So this means means you might need to do some like walking, light jog, or like cycling or whatever to get yourself warm up first. It might also help to do some like self massage or like muscle release as well to get the body a bit more loose and relaxed and like get the blood flowing. So this includes like foam rolling or like massage gun or whatever. For me, there's pretty much 2 occasions where I do like stretching and mobility work. The first one is like right after my runs because I'm pretty much already warmed up, and the second one is like right after my foam rolling, since that loosens me up and gets the blood flowing. But I usually do that at home. But yeah, I pretty much try to do a bit of it every day. Anyways, let's get into my routine. Keep in mind, it's not super comprehensive by any means. I'm very much a beginner when it comes to these things, and I'm probably missing like a bunch of key exercises and movements, and I certainly won't be able to demonstrate perfect form for the most part as well. I am looking to really improve my flexibility and mobility later on, but for now, this is what has gotten me like through training so far. And when it comes to repetitions, I usually do like around 5 to 10 per side, and when it comes to like anything that's static, I guess I usually hold it for like around 20 to 30 seconds, not too long. And I definitely prefer to do it at home on like a yoga mat or something, but yeah, we're here now, so yeah, let's get into it, I guess. Okay, so let's start from like top to bottom, I guess. Yeah, the first thing I like to do is like my neck, I guess. I like to do my like side to side neck stretches, you know, like slowly, I don't know, probably like 5 to 10 reps per side. And also like front to back and neck stretches. And then followed by like head circles, you know, clockwise. And then after like 5 reps or so, do like anti-clockwise. Yeah, it just sort of feels good on the neck, so why not do it, I guess. And then I'll move on to like shoulder circles, so like this, and switch it over to like front to back. And maybe like some arm circles, pretty wide ones to begin with, you know, and then switch it around. And then you can even like narrow it down like this, and switch it around. And then like arm swings, I guess, diagonal. Like it doesn't really seem like running related, but yeah, it just feels good in general. So like, yeah, I like to do it anyway. And maybe like across the chest. So I don't know if this is like actually like really stretching mobility, but I find it just like helps loosen up the arms and shoulders, I guess. So why not do it? And then like up and down. At home, I have like a resistance band where I just like stretch across the body like this, or like loop around like this and back and forth. But yeah, I don't bring with a resistance band, so I just have to sort of imagine it, I guess. That's really good for like opening up the chest as well and your shoulders. There's also like a few arm and shoulder related stretches, like, you know, this one where you like sort of stretch your triceps or whatever. But honestly, I haven't done it in like a very long time, since like school days or something. I don't really know. I feel like I haven't really needed to, but like I think I'll look into it again and see like what the benefits are, like see alternatives. I don't really know. But yeah, like, I haven't really done this kind of stretches in like ages. I also like to do some wrist circles as well, like this, and swap sides, back and forth like this, side to side. Let's move on to like the glutes and hips now, and I guess a bit of the spine as well. So the first one I like to do is like, it's called like the figure 4 stretch. It's like you pretty much stand at like, I don't know, try to make the number 4. And I don't know what number 4 this is, but like, yeah, apparently it's number 4, so yeah. So just like cross your leg over your knees and stuff, and like just sort of like bend down a bit. Keep like your back like relatively neutral, like relatively flat and like sort of arched. And you sort of feel like over your glutes heaps and your hips as well. I'll show you from the side as well. Yeah, pretty much just cross your leg over and like just, yeah, bend over, keep your back sort of arched a bit, and yeah, just relax, I guess. And like this feels great like around here, I guess. You can also do it lying down as well. Like I prefer to do it standing up, but sometimes when I'm at home, I like to do it lying down. But you know, I'm here now, so like this. Yeah, it feels great. And I guess while I'm on the ground already, I like to do like knees to chest as well. So that looks like this. Yeah, just lie down, bring your knees to your chest. I guess if you bring your left knee up, you can also try like swing a bit to the right as well. So like left knee to right shoulder, that sort of like stretches something, but it feels great. Yeah, I don't know. Or you just hold it like statically, I guess. And swap over. Yeah, again, you can bring it to like your right knee to your left shoulder somehow, slowly. And now I like to do what I call like a horizontal squat. I don't know if it's the right form, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I don't think it's the right form, but it still feels great. I think you're meant to arch your back, like keep it back like arched a bit for this. And that really opens up the hips, I think. And then we have like the pigeon pose, I guess. Like this one's like really great too, but like I think it's a bit difficult for me. I think it's like this, something, and you can have like sit up in it, or you can like slow down, like lean into it as well. I don't really know, but it feels great. Top your legs as well. Yeah, this one's pretty tough for me because I have pretty tight hips, but yeah, like, yeah, I just hold on to it or like really ease into it as well. I don't know, like maybe you meant to hold your hands like this as well, but yeah. There's also the butterfly hip stretch I do sometimes, but like I really don't know how to get better at it. I just hold like this, but like I know some people can like get their knees flat to the ground, but I haven't really figured out how or why they can get down there. But like yeah, regardless, it still feels great to do. Then we have what some people call like the world's greatest stretch. I don't know why it's called that, but yeah, it's pretty effective for some reason. So you get into like a lunge position like this, but you don't fully lunge the whole way. Like you sort of like still have your knee above the ground, that makes sense, and then have like your other arm on the other side. Start with like your elbows on the ground, and then like slowly like reach up like this or something. Elbow to ground. Yeah, and that really like stretches the groins, the hips. I think the spine as well. And also like your lower back. Yeah, it's pretty tough for me because yeah, I'm not very flexible or mobile in the hip area or at all in general, but like feels pretty great. Yeah, make sure like your knees are driven out to the side. Yeah, and like try to go past like the middle part. See, like you don't stop here, you sort of like keep going forward, and that sort of like stretches the spine a bit more. Yeah, I don't know if that's the perfect form, but I've always done it that way and seems to work, I guess. We also have the 90-90 stretch, which means like you put like your legs in like a 90-degree angle and the other leg in 90-degree angle as well, and like just sort of like hold this stretch for a bit. Look at that. It's a bit like an easy version of the pigeon pose, I guess. We can also do like 90-90 hip switches, which looks like, it's very similar, it's like this. But like the easiest version is where you sort of like lean back like what I'm doing right now, with your arms. That like supports the weight. I can't really do the more advanced versions of this properly, so yeah, I just stick to like my arms on the ground. Like the advanced versions involve like you just like not using your arms at all. Or like squatting up. That's like way tougher, like something I want to do like eventually, but yeah, for now I can't really do it. So I just usually like keep my arms behind me. That sort of provides like a bit of like support and balance as well. And then finally the one I like to do is like called the table. I don't know if it's like directly the hips, but yeah, it's pretty good too. It's like just put your arms behind you, legs in front, and just like look like a table, I guess. I don't think it's like fully a hip stretch, but like yeah, it just sort of like stretches your back, your glutes maybe. I don't really know, but yeah, feels pretty good. Just try to bring your glutes to the sky, I think. In terms of the quads, I don't really know many stretches for it. I pretty much only do the standard one, which yeah, everyone knows, I guess. So it looks like this, right? But like, the way I like to do it is like, rather than holding like this, I pretty much reverse my hand and hold it inside my leg. That's like this instead. I feel like that targets the quads a bit more, but honestly, this whole stretch in particular, it's a bit suspicious for me. I don't know why. I feel like it's kind of like tough on the knee joints. So yeah, I kind of do it sparingly, like just foam roll it heaps, I guess. So again, on my left side, rather than hold like this, I like to like swap my hands over and then get the inside of my legs like this, and then do the stretch. My quads aren't particularly flexible. I can't get my heels to my butt for some reason. I know many people can, but I can't, so yes. And then we get into hamstrings. Like the first one I like to do is always like elephant walks. It's like a way to like prime your hamstrings or get you like warm before you start doing like actual hamstring work. So you sort of like hinge your hips back like this and keep your back straight, I think, and then you just like walk like an elephant would, I guess. Like slowly straighten each leg per side, like, and then swap over like this, you know. I don't know if my form is perfectly correct, but like it's just a way to like ease your hamstrings before you start stretching, I guess. And then I like to do like squat to stand, which looks like this. So it's like you squat and then you slowly stand up to it like this. And you get back down. And you go up. Again, it's just a way to like prime your hamstrings before you start stretching it. I can't really stand up all the way like this because I'm not really like flexible here enough, but yeah, it still feels good regardless. And then I do like the cross hamstring stretch, which looks like this. Cross your legs over, and that emphasizes the back leg a bit more. Again, make sure you stay relaxed. You don't have to go all the way. You can even start bend a bit, I think, so like ease into it. Yeah, then swap legs. Make sure like your lower back is like, I don't know, sort of like neutral or like arch in some way or relaxed. Sometimes I also do a single leg hamstring stretch, which looks like this. Just one leg straight, one leg bent, and like emphasize the straight leg. Straight leg here, bent leg here. And then finally, I like to do like single leg deadlifts, I guess. So like, it looks like this. I think straight leg as well. It's like, I don't know if it's like sort of like strength work, but I feel like it's also mobility work as well. Bend over, keep the leg straight, and the other leg just like reach back, I guess. There's also a bunch of like hamstring exercises and movements that involve like rubber band or towels that I've seen online. That seems effective, but I haven't really tried it. So like, you pretty much just pull on it, or like you sit down and like you pull against it. I don't really know, but I'll give it a try sometime. But yeah, I haven't really done it so far. And then we move on to our calves. I normally like to find like a elevated surface for that, like a stair or something, or like a yoga block, and then I sort of just lean onto it. So yeah, just imagine this is like a stair or like a yoga block, and then you sort of like just step off it and like keep your calves straight, and then that sort of like stretches the calves as well. You can also do like a bent version as well, so like straight and then bend it, and that stretches a different part of your calves. Sometimes I'll do it against the wall as well, so just yeah, same thing, but just straight leg, push off like this, or like this. So this is straight, and this is like bent. Again, straight and bent. You can also do it on the ground as well. It's like this, straight leg, and then bent leg as well. Yeah, make sure you just hold for like 20 seconds or so, and that should be good enough. And then I like to do some ankle stuff as well, so like that could be like ankle alphabets or like ankle circles. I'll show you what it looks like, I guess. Yeah, so you just sit down, you raise one foot, and then you just pretty much like write the alphabet with one foot. So for example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and because the alphabet is like pretty diverse in terms of like, I don't know, movement. Yeah, it's pretty squiggly and stuff, so yeah, it kind of makes your ankle have to like work different ranges of motion. Yeah, and you can also like foot circles as well, so that's pretty much like, you know, all the way around as well, so clockwise, anti-clockwise. You can also do this while standing for like additional balance work, so like, yeah, same thing. And that makes you work on balance as well, so that's pretty effective. Yeah, and like also circles as well, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much my stretching and mobility routine. I don't always do all the exercise, but I try to do most of it if I can. I do like a few of it after running, but like I do more of it when I'm at home after my foam rolling and stuff. It takes me like around 20 minutes to do after my foam rolling, and yeah, I try to do a bit of it every day. Again, I'm not expert in these kind of things. I'm pretty much a beginner when it comes to flexibility and mobility, so yeah, like I'm definitely interested in getting better with it over time. Feel free to recommend me some like stretching and mobility exercises. I'll definitely give it a try sometime. Yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all to say for now. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.